A former employee of District Attorney Fani Willis of Fulton County, Georgia, is now testifying about her office's corruption. So the DA has repeatedly gone on record within the court and the media that her office has done nothing wrong and that they've been doing everything by the book. And so this means that no taxpayer funds have been misappropriated to anything else other than what they were intended for. Now, the problem for Fani Willis's office is that they don't really have much to show for when it comes to these federal grants. Grants that have given the DA's office millions upon millions of dollars, guys. It's also been discovered that the DA's office has been using this money to help already privileged youth. And the huge issue here is that they're not even from Fulton County. Now, you would think that funding and grants provided to Fulton County would go to the Fulton County people there. However, this whistleblower is saying that this is not the case. And Willis's office has been denying them access to information about who these kids were. And this is in connection to a grant that they were provided for youth that were enrolled in Fulton County. It's now coming out that the grandkids of elected officials were included in this program. Oh, the corruption runs deep, folks. And the same was said to have been done for Fani Willis's niece, who lived in Florida, who was also there. So instead of having a crime prevention program for at-risk youth in Fulton County, the DA's office instead funded a summer vacation for relatives and kids of those in power. Which begs the question, just how corrupt is Fulton County DA's office? So here's the whistleblower Amanda Timpson being asked about a grant that was supposed to go to Fulton County's youth.
Did you notice any irregularities or problems with the administration of this OJJDP grant?
Yes, in early March of 2021, after a lot of the administrative work was done on the grant, we need to now get to work. And so Michael Cuffee, who is the new Chief Programs Officer, invited myself and my colleague, who also co-wrote the grant, into a meeting just so he could understand the scope of the grant. In this meeting, this was the first time that he kind of mentioned that what he wanted to spend the grant on, and he articulated that he wanted to spend the grant on computers, travel, and swag. And at the time, we were saying swag, because there was a lot of rebranding going on. And so, like, each unit now had their own sweaters and their own mugs and stuff. And there was a complete and total rehaul of the building and stuff. So this idea of having swag was like a big thing. So those are the three things.
Trinkets. These are pins and coffee cups and T-shirts and sweatshirts, things promoting the new district attorney?
Correct. Okay. And so I quickly kind of interjected and let him know that those were not things that we could do with the grant. At that point, it seemed as if he hadn't read the grant narrative, and so I just wanted to educate him. I was a bit concerned, but at that point, it was the first time I had heard of it. I just tried to kind of set him straight and tell him, like, oh, we can't do that. It's really specific, and it's specific to programming. We can't buy any equipment. And that was a huge thing, because in the grant narrative, in the grant budget, it says specifically no equipment. And so his idea for wanting to get computers and even pay for travel, like, those are completely out of the scope of the grant.
Now, I don't mean to disrespect anybody here, but where do you buy swag? It's kind of a weird thing to say when you're in a workplace that's funded by people's money. It sounds unprofessional, because from that point on, it sounded like this guy wanted to just kind of use this money for anything that he wanted. Now, again, this is in relation to an almost $500,000 federal grant that was earmarked for the creation of a Center for Youth Empowerment and Gang Prevention. To this day, the center has not opened, and the building that was supposed to house this center is padlocked and it's closed to the public. But Fani Willis insists that her office is doing everything by the book. Yet this whistleblower is being backed up by the facts and by what the public can see. And Amanda Timpson, the whistleblower you just heard, she wrote the grant. She knows where the money should go. She was probably the only adult within the room, because she was telling the new chief programs officer that he was wrong, that they had to use this money for the youth of Fulton County, not on themselves. But Timpson continued this testimony by saying what Michael Cuffee had to say in response to her correcting him for what this money's for. This is also revealed that Fani Willis is called Madam in their office. How obnoxious can you be, Madame? So anyway, Timpson said that Cuffee was instructed by Madame that this was the vision for the money. And this seemed to be the norm for most of the grants at the DA's office that they received. That Fani Willis had complete control as to where this money would go, and that the rules and laws, they don't apply to her office. So, even though Timpson corrected them and said that they should use the money for its original intent, she was ignored. In fact, when Michael Cuffee found out that Timpson wanted to do the right thing, he then stopped inviting her to the meetings. Because who wants a killjoy who doesn't want to do misappropriate federal funds activities, right? Timpson also said that when she told Cuffee that they couldn't use this money for anything else, Cuffee just kind of looked into her eyes and walked off. How insane is that? And she said that she was only there to correct her colleagues because she was afraid to misuse funds. But of course, Madam Fani Willis wasn't. Although Timpson followed the protocols, she didn't go to the media and report that the DA's office was corrupt. She went through the proper people, and when they couldn't provide a solution, she reached out to Fani Willis herself. Because Fani Willis wanted to protect the DA's office. She wanted to do it discreetly. But guess what happened, guys? The communication between Timpson and Willis was then given by the DA to Michael Cuffee. Do you see what's happening here? So it really didn't matter that she tried to contact the DA directly and tell her that, hey, these people, they're doing some illegal acts with her office. Willis simply sent it back to the same person who wanted to do the illegal activity. And I'm not sure about you guys, but that sounds like a whole lot of corruption here. And just to remind you, they fired this woman. That's right, guys. The only person within the DA's office who had the guts to try to fight for the people of Fulton County was fired. And she was fired because Fani Willis says that she was a poor worker.
He told everybody in front of Crystal, Deontay, everybody, we're going to get MacBooks, we're going to do that, we're going to get swag, we're going to use it for travel. I said, you cannot do that. It's a very, very specific grant. Took me off. I questioned Junior DA. There's kids in there from out of the county, all this. Took me off Junior DA. I did not want to do it. He made it look as if I wasn't doing what I needed to do because I questioned him. Because I knew for a fact Mr. Cuffee respectfully did not know what he was doing, period.
So I respect that is your assessment. It was clear to me that you and Mr. Cuffee were not getting along. And I'm not saying that your assessment is wrong. I want you to really listen to the words I'm saying.
Cuffee, and this is my personal opinion, to one woman to another, is dangerous to your administration.
I guess she didn't have on enough swag. Yet, Timpson was able to provide 24 letters of recommendation from people who she's worked with for the past 12 years. This includes people within Atlanta itself. So who do you think's lying and who do you think's telling the truth here? And to be honest, guys, there's probably a lot more that will come out in relation to this blatant corruption in Fulton County, Georgia. Many critics already expect the race card to be used by Fani Willis again. However, it might not help her as much if evidence can be unearthed in relation to these grants. But of course, the DA's office has to also cooperate in providing that information that they continue to hold back from people who want to do investigative research on this alleged corruption. But what do you guys make of all this? Do you believe that the DA is corrupt, or is this a whistleblower that's just kind of making up stories? Now, as always, you guys are free to your own opinions. Just know that I'm going to be here with you guys every single day to make sure that you stay informed of the truth, because there's a lot of craziness going on around us, guys. Before I go, I just want to thank y'all for hanging out. Thanks for hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing these videos, and I will see you on the next one.